Hello, gods.
Sup? How's it going, man?
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to game number 2 of LGD versus DK. I'm just trying to keep myself cool, calm, composed, and not going completely insane. But we are back, and game 2 is already underway, so we're going to skip with sort of the pregame. Gods. I think everybody almost lost their minds during that game. The chat was going insane. Every website I was reading after the game, in between game 1 and 2, was going insane. I didn't lose my voice, but damned if we didn't yell a lot. And, well, hopefully the volume issues are resolved. I turned my mic down a bit. How could game 2 possibly even compare to that first game?
I really don't know. I don't think much can live up to the standard of that first game. But if two teams can do it, it's LGD and DK. I mean, very close teams in terms of skill, gameplay. They just match up so well, and we just ended up with this endless stalemate, which it took 90 minutes to resolve. It was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, the stalemate, it really felt like it began at around that 30-minute mark. Even before that, during the Roshan attempt, where DK just kept on trying to force the issue. They had the one bad fight where Burning crushed before blinking, just a rare moment of a crucial mistake from him. But even then, that game hinged on so many individual decisions. You really can't point to one mistake. It's just remarkable that it took so long to resolve, and I saw a lot of people over the course of the game flaming the teams in chat saying, oh, Chinese Dota is boring. Look, they're just farming. They're playing to win. They're not here to be as exciting and entertaining as possible, although, boy, did they deliver at the end. But it wasn't smart to force the issue for either team, and that's why they didn't do it. Even with LGD, when they just kept on chipping away at that Tier 3, they never overcommitted, except the Bear overcommitted just a handful of times. But in the end, LGD, I feel like this could be a defining game for them, and boy, did they storm back in that one. They take game 1, and here we are in game 2, with what looks to be a super Templar Assassin first picked.
I like it. It's a different mix-up of play. It's a hero that can't really just be outright beat with. Batro is already banned, so there's the one hero which can just beat TA mid. There's nothing else really in the pool which you can just say, let's put that solo against TA, it'll come out on top. You can't do that. You can run a dual lane maybe mid, but it's more or less going to be a matter of LGD making up for it in the other lanes. And I think DK have to probably play a different style in game number 2. LGD really fell into a comfort zone there once they reached that sort of 25, 30-minute mark. Around that Roshan battle, they just fell in this comfort zone. So DK need to do something which will throw them for a loop here. Game number 2, whether it's get more aggressive, go for a more push-based play, it's going to be something different. And, well, wow. LGD, they're going to stick with what worked.
I love this Panda pick. Boy, did it make a difference in that game. And you know, from the item selection, we talked about it in the early game, was Panda has to get 6, and he has to have an impact. It started off slow. It started off with a kill. I think it was even on a support mid, but they got a kill. And I want to say that was a track kill for 2 or 3 heroes. Could be remembering wrong, but as the mid-game progressed, his control with the Panda was really impressive. There was 1 or 2 moments of miss micro, but for the most part, towards the end of the game, it got even stronger. It's weird how the power curve works with that hero. But all the BKBs got down to 5 seconds, and in those ultra-long games, being able to boulder toss a hero, Cyclone 1, cancel the Cyclone, just control them thoroughly, and determine when you focus heroes, that really, it wasn't the only factor, but it was a big component of their victory. Keeper of the Light was, though, as well, and they get their hands on that, too.
Yeah, two of their key heroes that Keeper of the Light ended up being more farmed than the Bounty Hunter and the Panda and Brewmaster. It was just incredible how much of an impact Keeper of the Light had in that late game, providing so much utility with the Sheepstick, the Shivers Guard, and it really was. I mean, he had to be spamming those Illuminates, pushing out the creep waves as much as possible. There wasn't much space for Bounty Hunter to get big items up, and I like how LGD aren't going to have the Bounty Hunter this game. I think that was actually a bit of a pitfall that they fell into. First, when we mentioned the Invoker pitfall, but it's something where the Bounty Hunter just didn't work out for them too well in the early to mid game that game. Although they did come back, and we'll see how they react with it this game. What they go for instead. Maybe it's the Zhao Wei side lane solo Keeper like you mentioned that you saw in the past. As that game, it wasn't Zhao Wei on his Keeper of the Light.
Well, I just want to quickly check with the chat. I see a few people complaining that I'm way too loud and you're way too quiet. I'm not sure if that's a minority opinion or if most people agree. I can lower my mic, guys, but I don't want to make it too low where suddenly GoDz is too loud and you can't hear us both. We're just trying to get our volumes even. Now remember, when the game really picks up, I tend to get a bit louder. So if anything, I'd like to be a little bit quieter than him. But yeah, let us know in the chat if the volumes are okay. and we'll try and get them adjusted for you. I think it was better towards the end of the last game. A lot of people said it was okay for them, but just would like to double check with you guys now. Either way, enough about sort of the technical issues, and you can hear my voice just squeaking a little bit. But they get the Panda, they get the Keeper of the Light, and DK, let's talk about something different. They pick a hero that we don't see much of in Chinese Dota. It's the Enigma.
Enigma very early on, as well. I feel this is... it doesn't necessarily have to be a jungle Enigma either. Maybe they want that for that side lane type role. I'm surprised at DK go for this. I think maybe they're expecting another very long battle, another late game war, and Enigma's a perfect hero to have. BKB Black Hole is just so reliable as a late game tool. So maybe that's what DK are thinking. If they're going to be in for another late game slugfest, get a hero like Enigma who can just scale so well throughout the mid to late game.
Yeah, it's sort of the ultimate trump card as far as ultimates go. If you land it, and we'll see if they're able to do so. It also really sets up a hero like Templar Assassin nicely, allows you to line up those side blade auto attacks, do maximum damage with your meld crits, or not technically crits, but that plus 200 damage splashing through. And now it's time for the second stage of this draft, and we see LGD. They pick the Lone Druid a bit earlier. They pick it third. They've really valued this hero extremely highly. And DK, they go for something different, but one thing they still have is a little bit of minus armor to try and bring that bear down. Slardar had a lot of issues that game, wasn't always the most effective hero, but one thing he really did help with was to kill off the bear through amplified damage.
I love how LGD ban out the anti-mage. It's like one of those things where DK just lost the game with this sort of newish style of theirs. It's very likely they'd say, okay, what is our sort of fallback plan? Burning anti-mates. And LGD are like, no, we're going to ban that out. I mean, they've already got the Templar Assassin as a semi-carry, but that's just a hero which can create space for anti-mates. So banning that out, especially when they've got the Enigma kind of hints towards DK wanting to play for the late game. So banning out heroes like anti-mates is, I feel, really smart from LGD.
Yeah, the anti-mage getting banned out. Also, I love this ban, the Undying ban, because it's a bit of a death ball with that Templar Assassin, Enigma, Leshrac, and the Undying. And once the Tombstone gets dropped, the Edict is already hitting the tower. They do have some good anti-push in the form of the Keeper of the Light, but he can't kill the Tombstone, and it's only Lone Druid later on in the game who can quickly bring it down. So I think that as well is a very intelligent ban. Both of these teams, and this is an interesting thing that we can sort of shoot around for at least a moment, is how do you sort of just calm down and recover after a 90-minute game like that? Sure, this isn't for the championship. It's not the International 2 Grand Finals. But that was an extremely intense game, and the teams had a bit of a break. But you got to wonder if they're sort of tensed up and shaking from the adrenaline rushing through their veins.
Yeah, it really is one of those moments, especially for DK, when you lose that. For LGD, you're just suddenly on this huge high. You thought you're probably out of this game early on when they were so far behind. And then suddenly you're starting to win. You get this close epic game. You can come out on top. It's something like, wow, we can do anything. We can just execute, play our game. You can play a similar style. They can go something new. They're going to have all the confidence. DK are going to be a bit demoralized. I like, though, I mean, they've got RTK doing the draft, so he bans up both Lion and Shadow Shaman this time around. That ended up sort of being a huge thorn in the side of DK's lineup. They banned out Shadow Shaman, and they left Lion in the pool as that secondary support, and Lion had a really strong impact on that game. If anything, he first the 4-star on Bounty Hunter to keep him alive at that top racks, and then chasing, getting 2 kills for his team. I mean, it's a hero which keep out of DDC's hands. I would give him the MVP from last game almost.
Yeah, he played. I was impressed by the Panda play, but you know, the 4 staff, it wasn't just him. I felt also the Keeper of the Light did a fantastic job. Always being in the right position to pull that Lone Druid back in, and especially in those earlier team fights. How many times do we see Keeper of the Light illuminate blasting 3, 4 heroes, and even if he died, it was long after he'd already had a huge impact on the fights. The support play, and especially, like you said, the Lion, just made all the difference. And it even goes back to that epic moment, which honestly, I would love to see a gif of, or a gif, however you pronounce that word, of the triple 4-staff to pull the Bounty Hunter to safety. That was a huge play, and it was all the supports working together as one mind to make it happen. So many great moments from that game 1, but as for game 2, DK, they get their hands on Nature's Prophet, and as far as supports go, there's no late game hexes in the forms of the Shadow Shaman or the Lion, but what they do have on the table, and you know they got to be thinking about it, I feel anyway, is that Twin-Headed Dragon.
Yeah, Twin-Headed Dragon with the 2 main disablers taken out is probably going to be a go-to support. LGD do not run the jungling Chen or Enchantress. There we go. It's as you expected. Jakira gets picked up. It's I feel this is. I mean, they can run this as a trial lane with the Lone Druid, but maybe they go even offensive trial lane, play Lone Druid as a solo, do something a bit different here, because I feel they're just wasting a lot of the supports farm. Jakira's with the Jakiro there. Last game they had a line who needs the levels and farm to be effective. Jakira's not really in the same boat. This to me looks like something more that they can go offensive and get aggressive with.
There's also a Naga in the pool, and it's a possibility that would be the perfect component for a tri-lane. Panda solo mid, Lone Druid in the safe lane, and it also works on another level because you know that it's got to be a Prophet as a solo. Well, I guess it could be Enigma as your suicide lane solo, but either one of those, if assuming that one of those is soloing that suicide lane or that side lane, that's a good matchup for Lone Druid. He does well against Enigma. He does really well against Prophet. I feel Lone Druid just dominates that lane. At least he gets all the farm in the world for himself. He maybe doesn't shut down the Prophet, but that's normally a trade you're okay with making. The only downside of that aggressive tri-lane is you are up against the Nature's Prophet, and if you don't have success early, then you have to worry about the Enigma coming out of the jungle, hitting level 5, hitting level 6 early, and if a nice black hole shows up, the tri-lane is over, but are we thinking Naga for this last pick? It is still in the pool.
Yeah, and possibly Naga. Maybe they'll go something else. Whoop, there's a quick alarm. 2 seconds, I'll just turn that off.
Oh, no problem. So, for the moment, they're debating this one. There's also a Tidehunter. Doesn't really give them the strongest lanes. He doesn't have that same level of initiation that something like a Naga does. And later on in the game, not gonna... You're up against a team that wants to build a lot of BKBs. Templar Assassin probably wants to get one. Enigma most likely does, and Sven eventually as well. So I don't know if the Tide is really the best pick if they're trying to take this a little bit later, which, frankly, it seems like LGD's more comfortable if they can get into that late game attack. Whoa! Okay.
Ooh, very, very green. Zhao 8 Alchemist as well.
Offlane?
This is like some crazy offlane. I've never seen offlane Alchemist. I don't believe that exists. I think this is offensive trial lane with the Alchemist as sort of a more aggressive hero killing that they'll maybe max out the stun or something. I think they have to send Lone Druid as a solo. They may be in the safe lane against what's probably going to be the Nature's Prophet.
Wow, this is interesting, and maybe a Panda tri-lane with a Lone Druid solo mid and your Alchemist, like you said, trying to get that 1v1 matchup, that could work too. And Lone Druid's actually pretty strong against Templar Assassin because you have 2 damage sources, you chew through the refraction quicker, and you also you have a lot of last hitting power. So let's see. It's a Sylar Lone Druid. Generally, he doesn't play mid. We have seen him do it on occasion, especially with Morphling. But as the game gets underway, we'll introduce the players, the stars from last game. Yao on his Brewmaster. SC going to be playing that Keeper of the Light, or DD as he's also known. Wish they would just stick with a name to make our lives easier. DDC on the Jakiro. Sylar playing the Lone Druid, so maybe it is that Suicide Lane Alchemist. At least it's looking to shape up like it. Or potentially some dual lanes as DDC journeys towards the bottom lane. But Xiao on the Alchemist. He's played, I gotta say, he's got a very diverse hero pool, especially compared to some other Chinese players. He's up there with YYF, but this goes beyond diversity. This is just craziness, man.
This is like never before seen kind of tactics here. Are they going offensive trialing is what I'm kind of wondering. Jakiro's currently sitting at bottom lane with the Alchemist, and no, Keeper of the Light doesn't show any signs of moving from this top lane. He gets scattered by a tree, maybe just pretending to be in the top lane. And they've got the Spirit Bear bottom. They're going to try pull the creep wave here. I think this is something they tried last game and didn't really succeed with. If they can get it this game, the long lane Alchemist suddenly becomes a lot more viable because he can actually get XP and maybe a bit of farm under his tower.
It's going to be tough to sneak it in there. And, you know, you look at the lane war being placed, Burning's cutting off the other access point, and then the only other way in is to come up through the middle lane and down to the jungle, which they'll definitely spot. The bear does slip by and die. It's going to take some decent damage, but it looks like this pull should actually work out. I don't think they don't have enough stuns to stop it, so...
Yeah.
The offlane
Last game
Alchemist
they had
off to a good
to
start.
actually stop it. They had like the Queen of Pain, the Venomance. They had a lot of slows. They had some stuns. They could actually prevent the Spirit Bear chip away. At this game, they just don't have the heroes which can deal with this to prevent that from happening, especially because they're running a jungle hero. So, smart decision coming out. And I think Zhao Wei, another thing he's going to be doing is just stacking this Ancients camp as well. Using that, saving it for later so we can just acid spray and farm that as fast as possible.
Look at Burning, he's pulled the enemy wave towards... So this is so smart, and he's actually going to get the creeps to clash away from the tower, denying Xiao 8, who's probably a little bit flummoxed. Now, the bear took a lot of damage during that initial engagement. It's time for round 2. This bear wants some more. This is so cheeky, but before things really get going bottom, we should introduce DK. We have RTK, or Kung Fu Panda, playing that Nature's Prophet, super soloing mid, and although they lost, he was absolutely sensational in Game 1. as the Queen of Pain. Let's see if his Templar Assassin can live up to it. It should be a pretty good lane from getting this 1v1 matchup versus the Panda. QQQ or 357 as that jungle Enigma. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, it's a burning Sven. And last but not least, it is Die on the Leshrac.
Well, they've got their work cut for him. G-1 has finally got this creep bear back to his tower with the help of that Spirit Bear. Spirit Bear going to be forced to go back to Fan and heal, and by then, Lone Druid, he gets himself maybe up to level 3, can just recall it back to his lane. So, for now, I mean, G-1 could be happy just to get this bit of XP. He hasn't started stacking those Ancients yet, so it doesn't look like that's sort of his main game plan here at the bottom lane.
I wonder how this Alchemist fits into the game plan as the game goes later. You've got Acid Spray, which is actually quite nice to stop the pushing of the minion-based summons of the Prophet, the Enigma. The damage over time as well is going to limit the effectiveness of Refraction, so even as a hero that doesn't get a lot of farm, he has some contributions to this team. The stun, they have some decent setups so that you can channel it and land it. Particularly, it's the Thunderclap and it's the Ice Path, and if you ever get an Entangle, that's plenty of time to channel it. So he's not useless as an offlane here, and I actually wonder if we're going to see G-1 even get Goblin's Greed, and if he does, probably not until quite a bit later. Well, we could talk about it a lot, but he's still level 1. He's being shut down. Meanwhile, the top lane, RTK, is about the same. Neither of these offlane heroes really getting anything so far.
Yeah, both dealing with the pools reasonably well so far, and Lone Druid, he's bought his bear top now, so no more bear pools coming for G-1's way, which forces him just to maybe stack some Ancients here. Use that to at least invest for the late game, because there's very little he can do, and this is really the issue with this long lane Alchemist. Where can he go and what can he do? He can't gank, he hasn't even got his stun yet, and he's just been really shut down, as he should be, as a long lane solo against what is a strong tri-lane on DK's side.
They're going to abandon that lane? Are they thinking about throwing DD down there instead? He's already level 3 on this Keeper of the Light. Maybe, and actually it looks like they may be trying to stack some camps. They are. Maybe this is the plan for LGD. You just get him caught up in the mid game in the jungle with a lot of stacked camps, a lot of pulls. Your Keeper of the Light has a couple levels. Or maybe they just leave that bottom lane empty. They're okay with giving Burning... Let me repeat that. They're okay with giving Burning free farm. I don't know, but they are getting a lot of farm onto Sylar for the moment. 17-7, not as good as you would like, but he's keeping a reasonably even pace so far.
Yeah, he seems to be doing pretty well, and this is going to be interesting to see where Burning goes. Last game it was the treads into straight Blink Dagger, going for that more initiation. They played Super more as that sort of main carry. Super on the TA, it's another hero who does offer a lot of DPS, can be played more as a carry type of role. So plenty of options for DK here, and Burning, we'll see if he does play that new style of role or if he goes for a more carry-oriented Sven build.
Right? You know, we'll actually make sure he's got a Midas before we declare that he does. He's got the hidden Midas, of course, but he can also add on to that the real Midas. And Super, level 5, he's got his bottle. I believe he's crowing it right, or ferrying it with the crow. He is doing some bottle crowing. This is I talked about this with Painted Gold when he casted the, and it's actually a pretty good matchup for Panda because he's got evasion, he's got AoE to push the wave, and TA relies entirely on that physical damage. It's a matchup where Panda can farm quite well.
I think he can do alright there, if assuming his bottle crowing. I don't think the evasion is reliable enough. I mean, 10%, 15%, and the spill damage evasion doesn't help against that, so if you're bottle crowing, Panda does fine, because he's just so damn tanky. I mean, what, 900 HP at level 5, and that's without any points in stats, so Super can't really harass him all that well.
I see a lot of people complaining about lag, guys. We do apologize for any lag you're experiencing. It is not on my end. I haven't dropped a frame yet. My FPS is good in-game. It's something to do either with Twitch or with your connection to Twitch. I know MLG is going on today. I'm actually not sure if it started, but the Twitch servers have been under a lot of strain the past couple of days. That may have something to do with it. All we can recommend is try refreshing your internet browser, refreshing the page, changing stream qualities, changing the internet browser. Sometimes people have better luck with something like Chrome instead of Firefox, or even vice versa. And if all else fails, then just let Twitch know, report the problem, click that little wrench. But from our end, there's really nothing we can do. So we do apologize, but hopefully the lag improves. And, well, a very passive start to the game. Free farm for Sylar for the most part. Panda getting quite a good bit of farm. And it looks like Burning has something on the way. Is it going to be the Midas this time? No, completed power treads. It is more of that aggressive early game build.
Yeah, very, very aggressive coming out from him, perhaps, and with that, we'll see if he goes for a quick go. Super! He's forced out a Brewmaster ultimate by the looks of things. I think it was just a defensive one with the Enigma coming in. Enigma's got that fast level 6 here, and he was looking for that opening to come and gank, so he just immediately pops the ultimate before Enigma can get a chance to get the stun black hole off.
Yeah, Enigma can black hole those Panda Ancients, but you're not killing them, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway, and then you're just wasting the black hole. Yao not having the best time, but he is bottle crowing. He's doing okay. Super's getting some good farm. It's really just it's a game of trades, and now they've even rotated Xiao 8 in mid, so they want to get him caught up. They're just leaving this bottom lane abandoned, whereas DK is getting a little bit out of that, plus they have the Enigma, so perhaps as you'd expect, they are pulling ahead in gold and experience. But it doesn't feel overwhelming by any means, and it also is the kind of lead that could turn around the other way. But so far, so good for DK. They're getting a little bit more out of these lanes than LGD.
Yeah, I'm really curious how this Alchemist is going to fit in the mid to late game. I mean, he's not being played as their carry. He's going to be more sort of a tanky hero, but he doesn't really fit naturally into countering too many of these heroes. I mean, Acid Spray can sort of chip away at the TA refraction a bit, but there's no real obvious reasons for the Alchemist to fit in. And it's a bit of an awkward pick. He's just walking around the jungle, sort of going with the Keep of the Light here, just stacking up some neutral camps. So it looks like they just want to farm these neutral stacks a bit with the help of the Keep of the Light. You've got the Chakra as well there to help him spam the Acid. So interesting strategy from LGD.
Right, and he gets more out of these jungle creeps. Normally you farm a lot slower in the jungle. Middle lane, it's Yao. This should be our first blood. No evasion for him. Probably not living through that anyway. DK, first they bait out the ult with the Enigma gank. Then it's round 2 when they come in with the Prophet. And really smart play, knowing the Panda ult is down, forcing the issue. And picking up first blood, also pressuring bottom. They're going to get a tier 1 soon. DK is coming out with a bit of a vengeance. They're really putting their foot to the pedal and being aggressive here.
Yeah, and Burning is going to... Oh, it actually doesn't get the last on the bottom tower. Goes with the left track and forces LGD to rotate some heroes bottom. Alchemist has to return, and so does DD with his Keep of the Light. DD, once again, playing a very farm-based Keep of the Light. He's going for that fast mech in that jungle. He's been using a lot of neutral pulls and just trying to get the mech as fast as possible for his team.
You know, you can't push against LGD after a certain point. Once these heroes get level 7, once you have your Acid Spray maxed, I assume he's going to continue maxing it. And once you have Illuminate maxed, DK are going to have a devil of a time breaking through, so getting that early tower is very important. Speaking of important, MMY dodges away from an ice path. Would have been his death otherwise. Now Yao getting caught. Panda ult still in cooldown. They're going to kill him again, I believe. And he will drop. Don't get the death notification, but he dies. So that's 2 deaths for Panda. A strong start for Super, who's not only farming well, but is getting close to a Blink Dagger.
Yeah, a lot of farm as well. And I mean, kills like that, getting him closer to getting him more levels. He's going to see his maxed out meld coming very soon. This is just a really nice start for Super, and he's going in mid. He wants DDC. DDC drops an ice path, doesn't get dodged, but I don't think that's going to matter. He's going to go down anyways. Super, well, he's playing well. He's showing that he is one of those formidable, aggressive solo mid players.
And he's doing it against a pretty solid opponent in Yao, who had a decent time last game, but is just not having the start he's hoping for this game. Xiao 8 gets caught out. This should be the death of him. DK just finding so many kills, and they're almost running away with this game. Stormbolt to complete it, and gold experience really looking bad for LGD right now. They do have this free farm low Druid, and we've seen they can turn games around with it before. In fact, he might even be farming faster than last game, gods. He's up to 3k gold at 9 minutes. This is looking like a 10, maybe 11-minute relic. Or actually a bit more. I guess more like 11, 12.
It is, well, last game I think it was an 11-minute relic, and if he gets a kill here, it looks like they may get this Nature's Prophet. Can the Spirit Bay? He's actually blocking it off a bit here. The Spirit Bay just doesn't have the movement speed, and he's not going to catch up.
Oh, he tried
Sylar getting blocked a bit here. The switch to range form, not the best decision from him, so misses a kill. Needs to just get back to farming, trying to get that Radiance up as fast as possible.
That kill is big. You know, like you said, he'd have the relic probably at that 11-minute mark, so matching the time from last game, and a game where it seems like there's going to be even a little bit more pressure. Now, I guess the Prophet dropping low. He's back at Fountain. He's going to have a Midas soon, and, well, they're just going to start pushing. They do have this Twin-Headed Dragon. Only 1 point in Liquid Fire. The Bear tanking the tower will be resummoned. Not going to bother trying to take the aggro off. The Creepwave is almost dead anyway. Yao joins the fight. He's got the ult back up. He is getting close to a Blink Dagger in spite of a difficult game. Prophet faking the TPs in, maybe trying to bait some heroes back. They get a tier 1 mid, so they're trading towers. And LGD trading a lot of towers despite having a really great anti-push lineup. I don't know if this is the best choice. I feel like they could be defending and going for better trades later on.
And I think Sylar was actually too slow to resummon his bear. The Nature's Prophet ultimate got the kill. There was a little plus 100 gold, so Nature's Prophet gets the kill in the Spirit Bear.
Oh, you're right.
Gets himself his Midas now, and That's a big pickup coming for DK getting this Midas now. I mean, it's just slowly getting DK more and more farm on these heroes. And sure, they're up against a Radiant's Lone Druid, but DK have a much better lineup to deal with that, even when he gets his well, not so much deal with it once he has the Radiance, but late game carry potential coming from the Sven, the Nature's Prophet, the Templar Assassin, and the Enigma Black Hole as a great late game tool. I mean, this is not a game where LGD can afford to do what they did last game, taking it so late.
Right, if they're ahead, perhaps they can, but not in this position. Now, I'm surprised they've already given up 2-tier. Oh, Super finds a kill, and Yao gets caught out again. Did he use the ult? He didn't. So no Primal Split for him, and despite having that Primal Split, it's either being used just to run away, or he's dying without using it. Either way, problems beginning to mount for LGD, and like you said, it doesn't feel like the Lone Druid has the... Oh, God. Really? Dive onto mid lane. Super's going to pick up Shao 8. Alchemist drops to that. Super with this Blink Dagger just making all kinds of plays, and he's had it so early. Now Prophet TP's in. Sprouting SC in with him. SC's in a lot of trouble. Malefice to follow. This will be yet another kill. In comes Super, just cleaning up. No kill notification again. Kind of buggy, but Yao TP's in. This delays Yao's Blink as well, so a couple of really crucial kills. And escapes, whether it's the Lone Druid escaping top or the kill happening onto the Panda. Everything that LGD wants to do is just a bit later than they can afford.
Yeah, and this is a bit unlike last game. I'm sure they managed to... LGD managed to lose most of those lanes. DK just really controlled all the lane stage so well, but there was still some farm. Like, Yao had his Blink Dagger up around the sort of 11, 12 minute mark, and this game we're not seeing the same thing. They've really focused on shutting him down. Enigma coming mid couple times. Even the failed gank attempt is just to force him back, force out the cooldown on that ultimate, and we can see here he's just really desperate to get that Blink up as fast as possible.
Yeah, you know, they have a mech on the Enigma as well, which is one of the big reasons they've been able to push so well. It's the quick mech on him. Now the Arcane Boots up on Die. Super having this Blink. These are sort of their defense-breaking kind of heroes. They just jump in with the Blink, and that gets you past all the spam, all the defensive capabilities. You just get right into the back lines, and those back lines house a lot of squishy heroes. Whether it's a hero like the Jakiro, who seems tanky, but no support is tanky against something like Templar Assassin. Are they going to gank the bear? They want Sylar. Sylar's about to die. He just got his relic, I believe. It is on the bear, so at least he buys that first. But a bit of a disaster to start this fight. Burning, tanking, tons of damage. The acid spray will be dropped. QQQ. Was he actually thinking about a black hole there? I think he was, but he cancels it in the end. It's still available. Panda still no Blake. Boy, do they need it, and now the wraparound from Super. Wants to set up a couple of kills. There is a Panda ult, so diving this a little bit risky, but Stormbolt and the burst damage. No Panda ult. The fight falling apart for LGD. Just getting manhandled, picked apart. Die tanking, the supportless Shrek not dropping to this. Buyback from Yao. Black hold in. Is he gonna die twice without a Panda ult? Gods, he is. Two deaths for him.
2 times in a row. Bernie goes in, balls to the wall. He's got his armor up and he's just trying to fight his way out of this. Sven goes down, Leshrac goes down, but DK still, they're not done. They're going to find more kills with Super. Godlike ultra kill 13 minutes into the game. This is just incredible aggression from DK right now.
This is what we talked about. It's that new DK. It's the heroes like Sven and Templar Assassin not being protected by the team, but being on the front lines for the team, making things happen, putting the pressure onto LGD, and disrupting their defensive, kind of solid, stable, safe play. Seems like that's not going to work, at least not against this lineup, and, you know, they still have a great turtling lineup, they still have some potential to hang on, but after your Panda dies twice and buys back, that's a Blink Dagger horribly delayed. Whereas probably the Enigma's even close. He's up to 1,300 gold. No, he's just gonna go for a BKB. They just kind of want to kick the door in, and that's what they're doing so far. I don't know if LGD can get it back up on the hinges in time.
Yeah, they've got this Alchemist who at this point, he's level 6, he's a bit of a dead weight for their team. There's just nothing he can do to contribute. He's picked up a Vitality boost, he's just doing whatever he really can, but he's not going to catch up in farm, he's not really catching up in levels. The supports are doing alright, I mean, Keeper of the Light's level 7, getting close to his mech. You've got the Jakiro, who's had a decent impact in the game so far. He's actually only gone for level 1 Ice Pass, so a big surprise he's not maxing that out, and I feel LGD, they're just a bit too far behind, even with the Radiance coming up. It's not like last game where they can sort of hold out and wait for those openings. There's not really any openings with this lineup. They're not getting the track gold, they're not keeping up in XP, they just don't really have the ability to turtle. And even when the Radiance comes up on Bear, I don't see them really sort of going for that slow steamroll of towers like we saw in the last game.
This is, Super's a bit of a battering ram, you know, and the same for the Sven. These are heroes you can put up that defensive wall and try and hang on. They just bust through it, they just smash their way in, and they jump on top of you quickly. Whether it's the move speed from the Sven, it's just the Blink Dagger and Super, it's the tower diving and chasing power. Even Leshrac, who's pretty fearsome in those fights. And it looks like RTK is actually going to be picking up an Orchid fairly soon, so going for that silence, which against a hero like Alchemist is huge. If he can't get his ult off, he melts instantly. He's already going to be fairly squishy with only 2 base armor. Even with the high HP, it doesn't really amount to much against Meld. This feels like a world of trouble, and just a different level of trouble from what we saw LGD in last game. Also, even the Lone Druid's Radiance has been delayed a bit. He's died a few times, and although he got the Relic off, it doesn't seem like enough, and here comes Super, double damage, and the Haster in this has trouble written all over it. And then he's gonna farm, so I guess not. Oh, he bottled the double damage, he didn't actually use it.
He's gonna spot out Silo for a second at this top lane, maybe gonna go look back for another kill on him, but for the moment Silo just hiding away at his tower, the wraparound coming from Super, and they're just gonna focus down this tower, basically just tempt LGD to come in, try to defend it, and there's not really much LGD can do if DK want to slowly and steadily push it, but actually DK, they're gonna back off, they haven't got Burning with them, Burning at the bottom lane, just trying to farm up his BKB to go with that armlet.
And I think that's what they need, is once they get the BKB on him, they have the Blink on the TA, who's already pretty difficult to bring down because of Refraction, and just because of the timing for when Super's jumping in. Then you have the BKB on Burning. You can't focus him. The BKB isn't far off from QQQ, and you gotta focus all of these heroes. You can't let Templar Assassin auto-attack in a fight. You can't let the Sven do it either. It does feel like a commanding position for DK, but crucially, LGD has hold on to their tier 2s. They haven't lost them just yet. In comes Super. Look at Xiao 8 just melt, even in ult form. No chance, beyond godlike for Super. And it's just feeling a bit too easy. This is why so many teams just say, screw it, we're banning Templar Assassin. Super showing he can play it up on the level of being close to someone like Ferrari, if not quite at the same level. Very impressive play. And here comes another dive. Once DDC, the Ice Path whiffs. This should be another kill. They gotta use that Panda ult if they want to keep him alive. It looks like they're just gonna abandon ship. Now Yell blinks in. Clap on 2. But is there any follow-up? There is none for the moment. The Illuminate, they're not even getting the spell spam off properly. They're just driven so far away by the threat of these blinks that they can't even spam Illuminate on the creep wave.
And TA 11-0 at this point. It's just had massive steamrolling impacts on this game. I don't even. Oh, he's not going BKB. I was about to say I don't think he even needs to. He just goes pure DPS. He's got the Desolator at 18 minutes in, and with that, it's just going to be sort of a mountain of kills coming his way.
Yeah, this is just an absolute gold mine. In comes Xiao 8. He's going to drop that Acid Spray, almost just hoping they focus him first. Lone Druid does have the Radiance up. That's going to drive DK back for the moment, but you got to figure they're just angling for a better position. Like you said, Super with that Desolator picked up. And what DK have in this game is the Prophet, so they can split push. They can deal with, the LGD stall tactics a lot better. It's just another layer of, how do they sort of counter LGD's turtling at defensive play? Get a hero like Prophet who can split push, who can be anywhere at any time, show up to the fights just like how the Keeper of the Light always brought Lone Druid in when they needed him. They're doing sort of a similar thing with this Prophet, and so far, it's really helping them to control the lanes. If you actually look at the vision both teams have, the map control for DK is easily twice as good as what LGD has, both in terms of vision and even wards. LGD is playing almost entirely in the dark.
Yeah, LGD just have no idea what's going on. I mean, DK can be farming, they can be taking roast, they can be looking to just group up, take down these last couple outer towers, be smoking up looking for ganks. The world is DK's oyster, and at this point, it looks like they just want to farm for a bit longer. The BKB almost up for Burning. They'll have just that next level of items, especially with some of their supports like the Leshrac, who's a bit underfarmed, and QQQ with the Enigma. He's getting close to a BKB of his own.
Right, and once he has it, how do they deal with it? The only thing that can stop that is an entangle, and you really can't count on entangling the Black Hole and Black Holing Enigma. It's very likely your bear will get caught by it. And it's not just that, it's the whole team where they could just group up and fight. And LGD, and on paper they have a great lineup to deal with it. They've got tons of AoE spam, but it's so hard for them to get it off without getting caught by the blink in from the TA, by the Enigma just waltzing in and trying to drop a BKB. They have to stand so damn far away, to a point where they can't even defend the towers properly. The only thing DK doesn't have, which I would like to see, is a pipe. Doesn't seem like they're building for one. It seems like they prefer the sort of the stability of the BKBs and just the full immunity over protecting those supports. They feel if they just get these carries into the middle of the fight, or the more high impact heroes, that's enough. They don't have to worry about someone like the Leshrac getting picked off early.
Yeah, the pipe is that sort of the one missing link for this heavy push, but I think they're just going to say, well, we're far enough ahead. We can actually take this late game. Last game, they were really in a rush to end things. They were taking towers whenever possible. And this game, they're just not even worried at all. Super's just got free roam. He's just poking around at mid. Zhao gets sort of instantly taken down to below half HP with just one meld attack. And
he's got to be careful.
This is just not a fight that DK are going to be losing anytime soon.
And DK are out farming them now as well. Farming the bottom lane is burning. The top lane is QQQ and RTK pressuring that, or the Kung Fu Panda himself. Just every lane constantly momentum given to it by DK, and LGD just forced into this. They also don't have much territory left to defend. How long did they hold on to the tier 1 last game? It felt like it was until that 25-30 minute mark, and even when it finally went down, they still had the tier 2 mid for quite a while after that. They're already out of tier 2s, aside from the top tier 2, which is easily the least important outer tower in the game for the Dire. Super is going to pick up the Aegis, and this might be it. I think the BKBs are almost complete. Enigma's just about got his. Sven's got his. DK, I think it's just about go time for them.
Yeah, really, they're going to be ready to rock and roll very, very soon. Enigma just, he's flying out at the moment, I want to say. Yeah, he's going to be flying out in just a second, and this last outer tower at top lane not going to be out for too much longer. Warding for LGD on that cliff. They've de-warded as well, so they're trying to maintain some map control, but it's really a big struggle for them right now.
Oh, blinking for the Panda, the ult will fly. MMY might drop to this, but the mech to keep him alive. Remember, you can black hole those if you want to. Not choosing to use it just yet. Burning coming in, head full of steam, chopping away. Look at the auto attack damage, just chewing through the Lone Druid Gods. You talked about it. Oh, he gets him with the splash, the cleave.
Wow.
Unbelievable. And now, last but not least, they'll make sure to do with him. Ultra kill for Burning and a 22-minute GG. DK just storms back and absolutely stomps all over LGD in this game number 2.
Absolutely. I mean, from start to finish, it was just a high aggression. Great play from the TA. Questionable Alchemist pick in the side lane. I'm just not convinced there was I'm not sure of the reasoning behind it. I mean, it just doesn't seem to be something which can be that effective. And DK just punish it as a pick, and LGD now finding themselves in a Game 3, a deciding match. The winner of this goes to the offline LAN finals, and this is do or die for both these two teams. Well, not do or die. They is still the sort of lower bracket end. The loser of this match still in the tournament will verse one of the teams who finished 3rd or 4th, but I think both these teams just want to walk away with a victory after that long Game 1.
Right. You don't come this far. You don't slog it out for 90 minutes in that Game 1 and then crush back in Game 2, only to say, well, I guess we got to play another series just to have a shot at that LAN finals. And even then, you're coming into it a little bit more tired out and exhausted. Game 3 is in the future. It's in the looking glass, and we're looking forward to it ourselves over here. We'll take a very quick look at the playoff bracket, just so everyone can see where we are. DK and LGD, they're tied up 1-1. The loser of this game moves up to, it's a very odd format, but they move up to the other sort of loser area in the round of 6. Then they have to play the winner of MUC versus Flash. Double check the brackets with Team Liquid, so these should be correct. So whoever loses this game, they face MUC versus Flash. The winner is going to move on, and, well, we're excited to see who's going to join IG in that Reign of Champions, the teams that are guaranteed to go to the LAN finals. Stay tuned, guys. We'll find out soon. Game 3 coming up in a jiffy.